Hey, what's up guys? Before we even start our video today, as you know, today is September 11th and we just want to give our deepest condolences to all of those friends and family that are affected by the tragedies of 9/11.
Also, we wanted to give a big thank you to all of those who previously and are currently serving in the military that fight for our country and give us the right to do what we do every day. Alright guys, so the purpose of this video is we're going to address some of the questions that Nick and I get asked all the time. This can be from our family and friends, from business associates, to just random questions that we get on the internet. So we have a lot of them written down here, and we want to take the time to answer some of those for you today. Right, so let's get into general questions, guys. The first question that we have here, we get asked this all the time from people that don't know us and don't watch our videos, obviously, is, are we actually brothers?
The answer to that is absolutely not. We like to say, figuratively, we're brothers. We met at college and we loosely like to call Burgh Brothers fraternity, I guess you could say, back in the day.
Yeah, it was a brotherhood. It was like a brotherhood when we were in college, so we just called ourselves the Burgh Brothers.
The second question we typically get asked is, how old are you? I am just about to turn 23, Connor.
Right, I am 23. I just turned 23 last month, so... Wait, what month is it?
It is September.
I just turned 23 3 months ago.
The next question we typically get asked is, how did you guys get to where are you now? Connor, do you want to start sort of giving a background about yourself a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So I guess I can start from the beginning, which would be back in high school. I wasn't necessarily into photo and video yet, but I was definitely into business, and I really enjoyed selling shoes and clothes online, which I still do sometimes. So I bought my first camera to get into just marketing myself better for selling my clothes. And then as I bought my camera and started taking pictures, then I met Nick, who taught me how to use it and create the sort of images that I saw in my head that I wanted. So my creative journey kind of went on from there. I actually had a job my freshman year of college as a balloon delivery driver. So we made like big balloon structures that we took to events. We actually had the opportunity to deliver balloons to Wiz Khalifa's birthday party. Wiz Khalifa had bought out Kennywood for the day and ordered our balloons, and at the time I was, just really getting into photography and learning about my camera, and I really wanted to get a picture of Wiz. So I actually took off school that day so I could go to work instead, to go deliver these balloons to Wiz Khalifa's party. I don't want to go too far into what happened that day. Maybe we'll save that for another video, but more of the story is I ended up getting a picture of Wiz, which helped get me to the next level, which was an internship with Daily Bread, which, for those of you that don't know, Daily Bread is a streetwear brand based out of Pittsburgh, PA here, started by Bill Niels. They spread vastly whenever they first started, thanks to Mac Miller wearing their brand. Rest in peace to Mac Miller. He was a huge influence to both Nick and myself growing up.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say real quick, I hate to interrupt you, but yeah, definitely rest in peace, Mac Miller. He was a great inspiration on me. His music always, had a special touch on my life and really impacted me and sort of helped me get through some good times and some bad times. So.
Absolutely, myself included, and both Nick and I were fortunate enough to get to meet Mac Miller, so rest in peace. So, as the story goes on, I worked for Daily Bread for a little bit, and their, partner business, Refresh Pittsburgh, eventually started asking me to do work for them. So I was right where I wanted to be. I was doing photography, shoes, and clothes. And I was also getting to meet lots of really cool people. Like I said, I got to meet Mac Miller. I got to shoot photos for Gucci Mane, Wiz Khalifa, Young Thug, Cameron.
Some Steelers too, right?
Yeah, I got to, just because of being at the shop, I got to meet my boy Juju, James Conner. Who else came through? Josh Dobbs has been through. So Martavis Bryant, my boy.
Facing another suspension, but you know how that goes.
Yeah, he's been through the shop. Good dude, though. But yeah, it was awesome. I was doing exactly what I wanted to do, and then Nick and I started Burgh Brothers while I was doing that. And finally, once we got out of school, we decided to take Burgh Brothers to the next level. And I ended up quitting my job with Refresh. We just parted ways. And I still really like those guys. I still go over there all the time. So shop at Refresh, PGH, and Daily Bread, and also Time Bomb Shop if you're in the area.
Rick, the
and
legend.
Yeah, and then Nick and I just kind of took off from there on our own. We found our own ways. We found our niche, and we just went with it.
So now I guess I'll go into a little bit of background about me. It was a little different for me. I knew at a very, very early age that I wanted to do video for the rest of my life. I think I was honestly as young as like 11 or 12. I just kind of knew that that's what I wanted to do. I started, I guess, in the video world. I mean, I was in, all of the news broadcasts in junior high and stuff like that, but I was also editing Call of Duty montages. I was real into video games at the time. So I got myself a copy of Sony Vegas Pro and started cutting up Call of Duty montages. I wasn't very good at Call of Duty, but I had a lot of friends that were, so I would cut stuff up for them. Then I got to high school and I ended up doing all of the video classes for 4 years in high school. I went into college then at Robert Morris. That's where him and I met, as we were talking about earlier. And I sort of got into the media side of things from a news and sports standpoint. I was always working on Robert Morris's live sports broadcasts and always working on their news broadcasts and stuff like that. And then on the side, I was starting my professional career at the Beaver County Times, which is a local newspaper out here in the area, shooting video for their online content purposes. Also, later on in my freshman years, when Connor and I really started becoming good friends, we met on our floor actually. We lived on the same floor in our dorm hall freshman year. And then we sort of started this company doing, in our very spare time. We both had really busy lives at the time, but we were doing real small stuff, just sort of getting portfolio pieces at the time.
Whatever came our way,
yeah,
honestly.
Which we'll talk a little bit later about doing portfolio piece work and kind of getting yourself started and getting yourself moving. But that's sort of how we got to start. So now I still am involved in the sports world a little bit today. I actually ended up, being able to bounce off my job at Beaver County Times and moving on to working at AT&T Sportsnet, which is, the big sports channel out here. They do Pirate games and Penguin games. I still have a hand in that today. I just sort of do it as a little side gig outside of this. I like to go once or twice a week and work, as a part-time freelancer and just still be involved in that world a little bit. It's always an interesting experience.
So the next question we get asked is specifically, how did you get into real estate? Which is a good question. At the beginning, we didn't really know what we wanted to shoot.
Yeah, we, like you just said, I mean, we sort of just took whatever we could at the time.
Yeah.
Thinking that, eventually we would sort of niche down into something very specific. But at the time, we didn't really know what that was, so we were just generalizing and then going from there.
Right, we were trying to intertwine ourselves with my company doing stuff for Daily Bread and calling it our portfolio piece or Refresh, or we would do something for school and call it ours.
Yeah, I think early on our website we had a lot of class projects, a lot of stuff that I did at Beaver County Times, a lot of shoot photos that you took back in the day.
Yeah, we did a wedding for very cheap right off the bat.
Yep, just to get a portfolio piece there. So we were sort of all over the place, really.
Yeah, and then my buddy actually growing up, Nolan Bell with Dynamic Auction Group, he gave us our opportunity to make our first real estate video. You know, at the time, he knew that Nick and I were trying to do something with ourselves and our company, and he was also in the beginning phases of his company, Dynamic Auction Group. So Nolan wanted to get ahead of the game early and make a real estate marketing video, and I think that our first one that we ever made for him was down like in the outskirts of Washington, D.C.
I think so, yeah.
And Nolan ended up not actually getting the bid for the house, and he ended up not being the agent for the home.
Yeah, it was less of a video to market the home and more of a video to market himself, saying, "Hey, this is what I can produce,
do." Yeah,
if I sell the home. So
I like to think that a lot of the times, whenever you get off to a shaky start like that, there's only good things to come in the future.
It wasn't really that it was shaky. I mean, when we, at the time, I guess you could say. It was good for our first one.
It worked for our sake, but I guess the job, like now, we want conversions for our clients.
Right.
Too.
Yes.
We care about the clients. That's if it's not a win for them, it's not a win for us. So we, it still hits me to this day that Nolan didn't get that bid, but as I said, there's been a bright future for both of us ever since then. So. Anyways, Nolan gave us our first portfolio piece, and it went from there. We actually, I think, did our first handful with Dynamic Auction Group. He had some commercial/residential places. They weren't the nicest places, but they were good enough for a video. And from there, we came to Pittsburgh and brought our skills to the Pittsburgh market. We got in with a couple good realtors right off the bat, and our name has spread ever since.
Another question we typically get asked is, what's your favorite thing to shoot? Now, I'd like to break this down into two things, because personally, I really like to shoot sports video, specifically being like a sideline cam operator. I really like being on the field, being on the action, and shooting that sort of stuff. But on the business side of things, obviously I do like to shoot real estate the most. We still have our hand in some other things outside of the real estate world, some small commercials and weddings and stuff like that. But real estate's definitely the biggest thing in that sort of business world for me.
Yeah, absolutely. My favorite thing to shoot on the business side of it is real estate for sure. I love the hustle of. I love the environment. The agents, they want their stuff quick and they want it done good, and like that's how we operate too.
Yeah.
We want to keep things moving. We want to push out content.
I really just appreciate too, like as we've gotten to shoot bigger and bigger homes as time has gone on. Like it gives me a little of an appreciation for architecture and
everything about
design and all that stuff.
Design.
It's a whole world that we didn't know anything about, and now we're starting to learn a lot about quickly. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, the business side of it is one of my favorite things. I know Nick and I both want to dive deeper into the real estate game, doing more than just media work. Eventually, we just kind of have to feel it out and figure out where we fall into that realm. So on the personal side of things, my favorite thing to shoot is landscapes. I like just being out in nature and being outside. I have been fortunate enough to go to a lot of national parks. I've got to see a lot of the world, and I really wish to be able to continue to do that. So hopefully I can mix the business side of it with the landscape thing eventually here. Haven't been able to find out how to do that quite yet though. I'm getting a phone call. Monica.
Hi Monica, how are you?
Alright, so the last general question that we get asked all the time is, where do you see the company heading? Which is very, very broad question. It's really hard to say because our life changes literally day to day, and in our industry, it's hard to say.
I guess a good way to put this in simpler terms is, we're not just trying to make it the two of us for the rest of our lives. I mean, a lot of people do that as a small business, and that's totally okay if that's the route that you guys are trying to take. But we're trying to expand, I guess.
We want to build a team of creators, of people that understand our vision that do train again, that do good work and are good people. That's what we focus on. And we want to build a legacy, honestly. We don't want to just do this for fun. We want to do this so we can create jobs for other people and for generations to come.
When we talk about, broader goals, obviously we want to make money, you know what I mean? But a lot of it is about leaving a legacy, like you said.
Yeah, the money will come. Nick and I put almost everything back into the business right now.
Which I guess is a, sort of a good thing to dive into next.
Yeah, I mean, sure. So that was the last general question. For the first question that our friends ask us all the time is, how much money do you make? How do you make money? So that's also a very broad question because it changes from day to day. Specifically, it changes month to month. We pay ourselves on a monthly basis at the beginning of each month, and fortunately, we've been able to pay ourselves a little bit more and more each month. Like I said,
I mean, I don't want to go into specific numbers, but we've been growing every month, which is what the important part is, and we're making enough to survive. And if you're really trying to go the entrepreneurial route, like early on, those two things are all that really matters.
Yeah, right. We are in it for the long run. We're not in it for the short run. We have our apartment right here, and we could afford something more than this, but we don't really need it.
Right, because we could go out and get a nicer apartment and spend an extra $400 a month, but we'd rather take that $400 a month and go out and buy something, or get something else that might
that's
be more
beneficial
useful
to the company. Right. Basically, how much money do we make? We make enough to get by. That's about it. We make enough to get by and do what we want to do. I mean, we live a pretty normal lifestyle. Nothing extravagant by any means.
And I think it's hard, I guess if you're watching this video and you're trying to decide, can I make that entrepreneurial jump without, with risking it all? I guess it really depends on a couple of things. One of those things being we're fortunate that, I guess we have student loans and stuff like that, but besides that, we're young, we're just getting started with our professional careers altogether.
Right.
We both don't have families yet, that sort of stuff.
We're both still on our parents' health
Our
care.
expenses are a lot lower than, what your average person would be. So if you're trying to make that leap, you kind of have to determine how much money that you need to make to survive, and we make enough money to survive.
Right, that's all that really matters. That's another one of the questions that we get from our friends all the time is, how did you decide to take the risk to start your own business? And to be honest with you, I don't really see it as a risk at all. I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing. And the reason I don't see it as a risk is because I'm confident in us.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you were doing this when you were 35 or something like that, you'd be taking a much larger risk.
Right.
But for someone like us, it's not going to fail at this point, but say worst case scenario, if the business did fail altogether and we ended up belly up, Connor and I just end up right where we were out of college anyways, so...
Yeah, we got our college degrees, which, doesn't really matter much right now
piece of paper to
for us, but if,
for
God forbid, if something would happen and we had to stop Burgh Brothers, we do have a college degree, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean...
Not that means much anymore nowadays.
But like I said, we would just basically end up starting our professional career outside of being entrepreneurs. And I mean, I guess that sort of segues into another question we get asked a lot is, how did we even get started getting those jobs, and started, making those first steps in our business to the point where we started making money. A lot of it just started by, I guess, going the hard route about things, cold emailing, cold Instagram DMing, knowing some
Well,
people.
before we started doing any of that, we got ourselves a website. We made ourselves a portfolio. We combined our works together to make it somewhat legitimate.
Yeah.
You know, looking back on it now, it's really funny to look at our first website.
Right, but you know, at the time,
content,
just getting
yeah,
started,
but-
you got to put something out there.
Yeah,
you know?
so I guess the first steps to making money and doing freelance work is to have a solid portfolio. You need something. You need something for people to resort to go back to see what you're capable of doing.
To expand on that a little bit, you know, how do you get those portfolio pieces to start? I guess a good thing about us going to school is, you know, I had some professors that helped a little bit along the way, saying, hey, like, I have a friend who needs this shot, you know, do you want to go cover it for, you know, this amount of money, which, you know, whatever it was, I'm sure it wasn't a lot at the time, but we were just doing it to sort of get some
Yeah, you know, people see whenever you're working hard. We work really, really hard at what we do, and you know, at the time, we, compared to all the other students, you know, we were the only ones that were really reaching out of our comfort zone and doing something for ourselves and not just doing the school projects and whatnot.
Yeah.
We actually really wanted to make a business out of it.
A lot of it too is, you know, honest to God, like, I hate to say this, but fake it till you make it, really. You know what I mean? Like, you can go out there and just shoot stuff. If you don't even have any jobs lined up, go out and just shoot, you know, some stuff that you want to make a job out of. You know?
Go shoot B-roll. People love seeing B-roll.
Right.
You can draw a huge audience to your channel just by shooting B-roll, and the next thing you know, somebody says, hey, can you come shoot some B-roll like that at my resort or
Right.
whatever, you know, and there you go. Just shoot, do it. Just go do it.
It's a long process. It's
Yeah,
not something
it's
that
not
happens
something that
overnight.
happens overnight. You have to work at it every single day. And the last question that we get asked by our friends a lot is, can I get a job?
My response to that is maybe at some point.
Yeah, hopefully
you know,
someday.
But we are just at this point in our business where we are starting to expand a little bit and hiring some outside work to do some things for us. But, you know, we can't go out and just hire everybody that, you know, we know off the bat.
Yeah, right. You know, like we said, we really want to expand and build a team, and you know, if we can find a place for you inside the company somewhere, then absolutely. But right now, we need to kind of bootstrap and make executive decisions that make sense for the company during this, I would say, still startup phase.
So I guess now we can move into the business side of things a little bit more. Some of our friends' questions, you know, kind of ended up sprawling into business questions, but these are more questions that are focused specifically on, I guess a lot of these questions are real estate questions. Some of them are, you know, they're questions we typically get asked by clients. So the first one we typically get asked is, do I have the option to make an edit or a correction to a video? You absolutely have the right to do that. We offer typically 2 edits for free, and then from there on we expand and, you know, charge per hour for edits from there on out.
The second question that we get asked is, do you have your license to fly your drone? And the answer is yes. Both Nick and I passed our Part 107 test, and we have the license to fly our drone commercially.
You know, if you're interested in getting a commercial license, we are planning on releasing a separate video down the line about sort of detailing how we got our license and all that stuff, so be on the lookout for that. The next question we get asked a lot is, what is your typical turnaround time? I guess an easy way to start for the real estate world is we promise under 72 hours for our real estate videos,
Yeah.
but it's usually under 48 hours, I would say.
It's usually under 24 hours, to be
Yeah,
honest with you. We try our best to get the video and photos to the client the next day, but we guarantee no more than 3 days.
I guess, and in the wedding side of things, the turnaround time is obviously much, much longer. I mean, these are videos that take, I don't know, at least 10 to 20 times the amount of editing that a real estate video would take, I would say.
Yeah, typically our real estate videos are 1 minute long and our wedding videos are around 10 minutes long.
Right.
So there's a lot more work that goes into it.
That, and we're splicing in a bunch of raw audio and stuff like that, and going from speeches to ceremonies to montages all throughout the thing. So if you could imagine maybe packing 10 real estate videos into one of these wedding videos, it's a really, really long process, especially when you're talking about multiple cameras and all that stuff. So our rough turnaround time for weddings is about 2 months, I would say.
Yeah, 1 to 2 months, I would say. Typically no longer than 2 months. And then,
I mean, honestly, that's really great for wedding videos. If you're looking for a wedding video, I think a lot of turnaround times for wedding videos is a lot longer in this business.
yeah, I've heard a year turnaround time before.
6 months,
6
probably
months.
on average, is what I've heard.
Yeah, a lot of people will go into like hibernation or editing season during the winter
Right,
and edit all of their wedding videos. But we got to keep things moving. And if we're not able to keep it moving, we'll pay somebody else to help us get through the process, whether that be to help us with a shoot or to help us edit. But we got to keep it moving.
Right.
So 1 to 2 months is what we shoot for. The same goes as commercial. On the commercial side of things,
Yeah.
I would say 1 to 2 months for commercials. Usually there's a voiceover actor involved with that. So we kind of have to rely on their schedule a little bit. We have to come up with a script, a dialogue. We have to shoot. We have to put all the pieces together. There's a lot of moving parts to a commercial shoot as well.
Right.
And honestly, I think the reason why we have such quick turnaround time with our real estate stuff now is because it's just like clockwork.
Yeah,
Like,
when you're doing something 4 to 5 days a week,
It's really easy for us to have an idea of what we're going to do in the editing room before we even shoot it. But yeah, all of our work is priority to us. We want to get everything back to you as soon as possible, doing the best job as possible in the editing room, of course. Next question that we get asked all the time is, what comes with your basic real estate package or your 1 minute cinematic video package? That is our #1 top seller as far as packages go, is the 1 minute cinematic video. So, telling you right now, the 1 minute cinematic video comes with exterior shots, interior shots, and drone shots if the weather complies and we're in a legal fly zone or have the correct paperwork and procedures to fly the drone there. So you get, one more time, you get interior, exterior, and drone shots all in the same video. Yes, all 3 in the same video. That is our 1 minute cinematic video.
Now, obviously, another question we get asked to expand on that is, can I customize my package, or do I have to choose from one of yours? Obviously, you can customize it however you like. We just are going to have to quote you appropriately, whether you want, a voiceover, we're obviously going to have to charge extra for something like that. If you want to make the video longer, we can certainly do that, but we, just have to charge extra because it's going to take us longer to edit the piece.
Or vice versa, if you want it shorter, we are able to work with you with whichever kind of budget you have, as long as it's worth our time showing up to be there. So I guess I'm going to wrap it up here with a question that I kind of get asked sometimes as well by family, friends, and sometimes I even ask myself this question, and I'm going to ask it to you too. Why are we doing this?
Why are we doing this? That is a great question, and honestly, it is one that I do get asked very often. But I just think we're doing this because we love it. It's all I know. You know what I mean? Like if we weren't doing this,
I don't know what else I would be doing. Honestly, we really love what we do. And I guess the reason for doing YouTube and all that in general is just because it forces us to create content that's outside of our comfort zone. We love staying creative, we love staying busy, and putting ourselves on a schedule to where we're holding ourselves accountable to uploading a video for ourselves every week has really helped expand on our personal creativity, and it's honestly just fun.
I guess not only that, it's, a lot of it is based around sort of building a brand, and the YouTube channel has really helped to expand
Sure, there's
brand knowledge,
There's some economics that goes into it, I guess you could say, but it's not like we're doing this to make money or anything like that. Honestly, we don't plan on making money on YouTube for honestly ever.
No.
Really. I mean, if that ever happens, that would be like a bonus. But we're just doing this because we want to establish some sort of authority for ourselves in this video world.
All right, guys, so I'm pretty sure that's it. We covered a lot of questions. If you have more questions, let us know in the comments. We'd be happy to answer anything that you guys might want to know about us a little bit further.
Guys, I hope that you guys got a little bit of insight into our personal lives. We're trying to be a little bit more real with you and not be so everything all about business all the time.
Yeah, in our previous videos, we sort of made them short and sweet in the hopes that you guys would rather watch, our 5-minute videos as compared to somebody else's 15-minute video. And that doesn't leave a lot of time to get our personalities out there. So we were hoping that this video was helpful to show, our personal side of things a little bit more.
Yeah. So I guess we can just leave it with keep on keeping on. Work hard. We're gonna get to work now and edit a couple videos at a time here.
Yeah.
So
we'll see you in the next one.
Yep.